discrimination against women and girls have been doing their best to make sure that the bill becomes a law. But luckily for us, the VAP law has been passed to law as of 2018. And kudos to Malam Nasir El-Rufai and the House of Assembly for allowing that to pass. Now, the GEO bill, a lot of people do not understand that it is a bill that seeks to implement Section 42 of the Nigerian Constitution. It's not as if it is something that is coming from nowhere. And the major setback we are having is because people have refused to accept the fact that women and the girl child has a right to be treated equally with others. People still keep thinking of the fact that the girl child is inferior, and as such, any bill that promotes her rights should not be passed to law. Unfortunately, what we all don't understand is that the gender equality bill is not just a women pro bill per se. It is a bill that seeks to ensure equal opportunities for every person. And it then means that what the GEO bill seeks to achieve is to make sure that we all get what we get. For me, I will always say, give to Caesar what is Caesar and to God what is God's. I think that's the essence of the GEO bill. For us in Kaduna, we are still having a lot of challenges. You know, for every bill to become law, you have to put into consideration the various peculiarities of the states that wish to domesticate it. And then there is also that fear of the unknown. You know, in a typical patriarchal society, there's this feeling that when you're talking about equity or equality, that you want to take power away from the patriarchal class, which is really not so. What we are asking for, or what the bill stands for, is equity and not even equality. You know, I keep saying it, that for those of us who are advocates for equal opportunities and equal rights, we should focus on equity. Equity is fairness. Equity usually will lead to equality, because by the time you are treating people fairly, equitably, then the issue of discrimination and creation of that wide gap will begin to shrink, and we begin to get there gradually. So for my colleagues who are feminists, I am a staunch feminist, and I keep saying that my own advocacy is not about equality, it's about equity, it's about fairness. Because what it means is that if somebody is already standing here and we are going to be viewing the same thing, it then means that you need to be fair to me, to give me something to probe me up, so that we are viewing from this same level. And for me, that's not about equality, it's about equity. It's about bringing all of us to speed on the same page. And as such, for us to achieve, quickly talking about what strategies can we do, or do we need to put in place to make sure that we get the gender equality bill passed to law, is for us to begin to look at the provisions of this bill with an equity frame of mind and not the equality frame of mind. If we are looking at it from the equity angle, we will begin to be able to get the support of our traditional leaders, people who are deeply rooted in patriarchy, especially for those of us in the core north, where the typical patriarchist thinks that he can never be equal or the same with a woman. We're not saying you're the same with a woman, but we are saying that if a woman has a qualification like you have, give them a fair playing ground and let's see who gets that job on a fair level, without necessarily saying that, oh, she's a woman. Before the next 9 months, she'll be asking for maternity leave. Says who? What is important is that, can she deliver on the job? Is she good with what she is going to do? That should be it, because that's also the consideration you give to the man. Is it good? Is he going to be able to deliver? And these are the things we are talking about. So I would like to say, some people are still agitating for some parts of the GEO bill to be repealed. And I ask, are we making an attempt to change the Nigerian constitution? If that's what we are doing, okay, let's go back to the field and begin to bring people together. Let's look at our constitution and amend it as appropriate. But importantly, we must ensure that we deliberately eliminate all forms of discrimination. People should get what they deserve based on merit and not because they are women or girls. What is important is, if you are a human being, and I keep saying this, a woman is a human being, a man is a human being. In fact, I have started saying that, look, we are focusing so much on we, the women, and we are leaving out the boy child. And the boy child is an instrument to attaining this equity and equality that we are looking for. So there is the need to bring up side by side the girl child and the male child for them to understand the concept of equity and equality. And then we may begin to have headway if we are looking at it from the equity angle. You can believe it that if you go to a typical rural chief and you start talking about equality and you tell him that men and women are equal, you are likely not even to get him to listen to you. But if you begin to say, your girl child also deserves education, though, your girl child can become the minister someday, your girl child can also be, then you grab his attention. He wants to listen to you because you're talking about equity, fairness to all, and you're not just talking about the fact that a man and a woman are equal. And I keep saying this, to what extent is a man and a woman equal? I can get pregnant and have 9-month gestation period. Is there anyone who can do that? Never. You get what I mean? So for me, let us begin to toe the line, at least for now, to toe the line of equity, and perhaps we begin to get more he for she to advocate for fairness and stop discrimination against women. What stops a woman from becoming a president? I really don't know. What stops a woman from being the governor? I really don't know. As long as she has the capacity, if you ask me, she might even do better than her male counterpart, if you ask me. So let us remove all barriers. And that is what the GEO bill seeks to achieve. I mean, we are not saying that the men should go and, what's the big deal if he has to do the cooking anyway? What's the big deal? What is important is that we need a meal, and the meal has to be cooked. Whoever cooks it, as long as it is sweet, as long as we can all eat it, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? I mean, the best cook in my house is my husband. So what's the big deal? You know what I mean? So let's begin to toil the line of equity as contained in the GEO bill, and then we will be getting somewhere. So this is my submission for now. I hope I can still be on till the end, because I have an exam scheduled to start very soon, and may have to drop from the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Very apt. Prof has summarized the bill, the GEO bill in Kaduna and everywhere else, seeks to amend
Okay.
What happened? Can't hear anything anymore.
Oh, I think we lost connect.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you
I
so
think the
much.
network is pretty bad this morning all over the nation.
Yes. Thank you so much, Professor Hawa. You know, I kept nodding. Yes, yes, this is it. Thank you so much. And let me check the comment sections. We have contributions and we have comments. We have questions for Professor Hawa before we let her go? In as much as I want her to continue talking because I really enjoyed the session and it's painful for us to let her go. But if there are questions, then you can quickly drop it down so that before we let go of Prof, she can respond to our questions. And I would have loved Prof to stay in for our breakout room, but unfortunately, we all have one or two things to do. So with this, I would like to quietly or gently ask Prof before she leaves, can you throw in, one or two strategy for us to adopt as our learned person, as our guide, and as someone that we look at as our mentor? Can you give us, strategies that we can use to make sure that the GEO bill is effectively passed and implemented across not only Kaduna and Plateau, but across the 36 states of Nigeria? Thank you.
I think if we look at the chat box, a number of people have been dropping in some suggestions. Like for us in Kaduna, Barrister Sako has said clearly that there is the need for us to revisit the new administration. Yes, I agree with you, ma'am. We all know that the problem with our governance is the problem of continuity, as people will always come in and want to do their own thing. However, I think those of us in Kaduna have read what you have submitted, and thank God you are also a forerunner in the GEO bill, and we will certainly be leveraging on your expertise and experience. Hanatu is there too. A few members of the Kaduna Coalition Against Sexual and Gender-Based Violence are online. I am sure a lot of us will pick this up. We will meet with you so that you can help us link up with Barrister Kanyip and see how we can get the current government to key into what we have been doing so far. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for all your comments on the chat box. Salome, thank you. Sunday, thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. I'm so sorry. It just took me out. It just threw me out. So I had
the
to use
network
another
is
device.
pretty bad this morning, so.
Yes, really, honestly. And I'm using two devices, one as a backup of the other. Thank you so much, Prof. And I'm happy you've dealt with some of the questions. I saw some questions and comments in the chat box. And our Plateau people are also commenting and picking a cue from what you've shared so far. Thank you very much. Basically, to sum up, your strategy is two-pronged. One is to reframe the narrative as seeking equity to gain the buy-in of our leaders of culture, especially who are deeply rooted in patriarchy. The second is to promote the benefits to boys and men as well of the GEO bill when it becomes law. All right, thank you very much, Prof. We hope you'll still remain on the call as we take on more comments and questions. I had wanted to ask really, what would you say are the barriers, but permit me to share what you have said, if these also pose as the barriers or the challenges. The fear of the unknown in a patriarchal society, by those who think it may, this decision makers who should make this happen, thinking it is going to challenge or destroy patriarchy. Yes, that's basically what I took. The second will be of the GEO law, which seeks to promote equity. So, are there other very distinct challenges that Kaduna State faces, or can we reframe these in form of challenges? You had started by mentioning the consideration for the peculiarities of the state in the
Yeah.
pursuit of the bill being passed into law. So, could you mention, apart from the fear of the unknown, of patriarchy being erased, could you mention specific uh, peculiarities? What makes Kaduna different from Plateau? That the GEO law, GEO bill could be passed into law in Plateau, but could not happen in Kaduna. What are some of those peculiarities?
Well, Kaneng, I am glad you're asking what is the difference between Plateau and Kaduna. I'm sure you are just asking the obvious because I know you know the terrain in Kaduna very well. You've also been part of the people pushing even in Kaduna. The issue is there's the need for us to change the approach of the advocacy. There's the need for us to now focus, even though we have been focusing on traditional rulers, there's the need to focus on religious leaders in Kaduna, because whether we like it or not, culture influences religion just as religion influences culture. So there's the need for us to begin to strategize towards bringing these two parts. Because if you ask me, religion and culture are two sides of the same coin. And for us in Kaduna, religious beliefs and religious leaders are seen, in fact, in some cases, they are synonymous to God. Sorry, I'm saying this, it sounds like blasphemy, but I see a lot of us believing in what our religious leaders say more than what the government says. And as such, there is a need for us to begin to take our advocacy to those places. At the same time, we need to understand that the language that patriarchy listens to is a major setback in getting equity laws coming into place. So, like I said, we must begin to focus on gender equity as against gender equality. If we don't hold that line, a lot of civil society advocates, people who say they are feminists, are against this view. But if I ask you, it is a sure banker strategy for us when we begin to preach fairness, equity, and then we will get there. But as long as you begin to say, you must give women 50, 35%. Yes, I was a very strong advocate for 35% affirmative. That was before I became very versatile in the issues of gender equality. But now, if you ask me, it's a 50-50 case. It is, you look for it and I look for it. So we should begin to look at our own peculiarities. I keep hammering on peculiarities so that we can get to where we want to get to. Thank you for the privilege to be on this webinar. In another 10 minutes, I may have to go offline as I have an external examination that is supposed to have started since 11 o'clock. So thank you again. I wish I could be part of this from the beginning to the end.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you so much. Thank you. At this point, I'll quickly introduce our third panelist, and I will take his very brief citation. Thank you very much, Barrister, for being so patient. He is the man among women. Blessed are thou. We have with us as our third panelist, Barrister Joseph Marcus Babai. He is the Principal State Counsel with the Kaduna State Ministry of Justice. His specialty is public prosecution and legislative drafting. He assisted in redrafting the VAP law and is currently on the GEO bill. And thank you for the very brief summary of your citation. Thank you very much. So at this point, I would like to yield the mic to Barrister Bobai. And it's a good thing you're in Kaduna and working on the GEO and VAP in Kaduna. So if at some point in time, Professor Hawa opts out, we will engage you to respond to some of the issues concerning Kaduna. You have the mic, sir.
Okay. Good morning, Kaneng. Good morning, other panelists. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. I remember you mentioned fluctuations, but we can hear you.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yes. Okay. First of all, I'm sorry to be joining the meeting late. It's due to internet issues. I had been working on connecting with you since around some minutes to 10. Well, we've been working on the GEO bill in Kaduna State, myself and my colleague, Sarah Kajere Peters of the Ministry of Justice, and assisted by Madam Bukola, who also joined us, and working for RAPA and UN Women in our capacity as drafters for Kaduna State. And we were presented with a prototype bill by RAPA on what the bill.
Sorry, Barrister Bobai.
Yes.
Hello, Barrister.
Yes, I can
Barrister
hear you.
Bobai.
Yes.
Hello, Barrister Bobai.
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay. Hello, Barrister. Yes, Barrister
Yes.
Bobai. I'm sorry to steal a moment of your time. Would like to quickly take a group photograph while everybody is still on the call. Excuse me.
Okay.
So at this point, I'll hand over to my colleagues in RAPA, Habiba and Planan, to take over this. But I believe we'll all need to turn on our cameras so that we can do the group photograph just before you continue. Please, everyone, turn on your mic. I'm sorry, I can say microphone. Turn on your video. We need to see your bright face for the group photograph. In fact, I'm using mine as my mirror to make sure my hair is in place so that I look neat and proper for it. Please, can we all turn on our videos? Thank you. And to Jemima, I can see you. Bridget, that cares. Suleiman Shehu, I see you. Thank you for joining the call. Can we please turn on our cameras? Please.
Please smile.
Please, can we turn on our cameras? Elizabeth Kachala, Bashir. Please turn on your cameras, everyone. Habiba?
Okay.
Hello, just a quick one. I want to do a countdown. So I have Jeremiah, Mandy, Bridget, please turn on your videos so that we can do this and we can go back to our session. So I want to see your beautiful 32. I don't know, my own is not up to 32, it's just up to 32. Let's count. You can open it so that we can count it. The person with the full 32 will get a gift from me. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. I've seen my winner. Jeremiah is my winner. I like the peace sign. Don't be angry, eh? Mr. Sunday, it looks like things are not doing well for you down there. I want to see the smile. Deborah, don't worry, I'm winning this competition. Well, we're giving it to our participants. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone.
Affairs, Director of Research in the Ministry of Women. Bye.
Yeah, Hannah, I'm taking the mic back to you, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. In fact, I had already taken.
Okay. Okay, then
Thank
it's
you very
good to
much,
be back
Habiba,
again.
for
Can
the
you
good
hear me?
photograph.
Yes.
And I was hoping to win your prize.
They're having another conversation. Hello? Hello? It's calling.
You can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. It's good to be back again. Just as I was saying, when this exercise started, we were presented with a prototype bill that met general provision. Yes. Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay, then, just as I was saying, I said when the bill was presented in Kaduna State at the first meeting with officers of the Nigerian National Institute for Legislative and Legal and Democratic Studies, that is NILS, under the auspices of women, and eventually wrapped up during another workshop. What we realized was that the bill met general provisions for what should be contained in the Gender and Equal Opportunities Law, if passed by a state. Then we analyzed the bill. We realized the need to situate it in the Kaduna State context so that we will meet our local peculiarities as a state. And also there was the need to bring the drafting style in line with our local style as drafters for Kaduna State, because there is this style of drafting we've been used to, arrangements, use of words and other things. So in line with that, we've been able to come up with two different bills for Kaduna State. Two things, because we are looking at two options. A situation, one, first of all, a situation where we could have a gender and equal opportunities bill without a commission. That is, if we are to implement the law or enforce an existing ministry, government, or agency, which in Kaduna State, at the moment, the Ministry for Human Services and Social Development is ministry saddled with the responsibility when it comes to issues relating to social development, matters relating to gender affairs and others. So we came up with a bill empowering the Ministry of Human Development with the responsibility of enforcement in that ministry. That means a department is going to be created in that ministry responsible for the implementation of the law. Then the second alternative, we looked at a situation where we could have a commission responsible for implementing this. Now, in this bill, a commission was clearly created. It was vested with powers and specific functions, which have to do with the implementation of the law Kaduna State.
It seems
And
Barrister
for
is
us-
having some network issues.
Yes. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, clearly, Barrister.
Okay, yes. This second alternative, where we are to have a commission, we advise for us that it is the best alternative, because anything that is worth doing well. Because the reason is this: if you are to have a commission in place, clearly for the enforcement of the gender and equal opportunities law, that means there will be serious focus and attention by government on issues pertaining to gender and equal opportunities.
We seem to have lost you. We seem to have lost you, Barrister Bobai. Barrister Bobai? Okay, his frame is frozen. But please keep the comments and questions coming. He was at the point of strategies to mitigate the risk of failure and duplicity by identifying the right government line agency or ministry to domicile the GEO in Kaduna. Unfortunately, his sound is fluctuating a lot. And we seem to have lost him. Okay, you might need to unmute. You're muted, it seems. It seems he's muted. But Prof is still here. Okay, okay, Barrister Bobai. Okay, seem to be back.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now. Welcome back. Even though
Okay,
here
thank you.
we see you as Bukola Ajao,
Yes.
but we know you're Barrister Bobai. Please go ahead.
Okay. So we put the two options together. And
Sorry, what two
advice,
options? You could backtrack just a little bit.
Okay, the first option is vesting the powers of enforcement of the law with a department under an existing ministry, which in this case is the Kaduna State Ministry for Human Services and Social Development. Because at the moment, that is the ministry responsible for matters, issues, as far as this legislative proposal is concerned. But our fears with respect to this first option were these. One, bureaucracy would set in, and that would affect enforcement. The enforcement is not going to be very effective. You will not recruit experts around these issues, people who have experience around these issues for enforcement. It's going to be just like every other thing the ministry has been doing, and there may not even be a budget line for it. But we suggested, because of this, we suggested a second alternative, which is establishing a commission for gender and equal opportunities. And if you have a commission, that means there will be serious focus and attention given to these issues by the Kaduna State government. First, there's going to be a budget line. Secondly, you have staff recruited and they will be trained accordingly. People, then the focus will now be, yes, we have a commission. And as such, we should recruit staff who have the capacity to ensure the enforcement of the provisions of this law. It's not just about passing legislations, but you have to look at enforcement at the end of the day. So our legal opinion, which came by way of a legislative analysis, put these pros and cons together of having a commission and the other alternative, not having a commission, and rather having the law implemented by a department in the Ministry of Human Services. Because we are aware of the fears of the Kaduna State government of having series of agencies because of the cost of governance. But what the question we asked during the course of this engagement, and even the first advocacy that took place in Abuja, sponsored by the UN Women, was whether this is a venture worth taken by the Kaduna State government. Are gender and equal opportunity issues really serious issues that should warrant government establishing an agency for that purpose? And of course, our answer, generally, there was a unanimous opinion at that plenary that establishing a commission is the best way to go. However, this is a legislative proposal which may go to the House of Assembly, either by way of an executive bill or a private member's bill. And at the end of the day, the Kaduna State government will be the one to implement this. If they decide to have this under the Human Services and Social Development Ministry, at least it's a win for us. Let's just take a first step, and then subsequently, another advocacy can come up by way of trying to do an amendment and create the commission subsequently. But if we are lucky that at this stage, at the beginning, if the Kaduna State government accepts establishing a commission, perfect, that will be fine for us. We go straight ahead. As soon as it is passed, the Kaduna State government establishes a commission for that purpose. But in any case, like what I'm trying to say now, right now in Kaduna State, we have two bills. One with a proposal in place with a commission, then the other one without a commission.
Thank you very much, Barrister
Yes.
Bobai. So there are
Thank you.
two bills. That's an interesting dynamic in Kaduna.
Yes.
I don't know, Barrister Ron, if Plateau would have done the same but Plateau is ahead. We know there was a law, then now there's a bill to seek to amend that law. But in Kaduna State, there are two bills. One to have the GEO domiciled in the Ministry of Human Services, and the other is for the setup of a commission. But Barrister Bobai, don't you think this will confuse the House a little bit? Don't you think this might be a bit confusing?
Okay, you mean the House of
Assembly?
Assembly?
How was the process done? Were they asked to choose which one or to review both concurrently? Please go ahead.
Like I said earlier on, there was an advocacy meeting at Abuja, sometimes in January this year, which had in attendance members of the Kaduna, some members of the Kaduna State House of Assembly. If I'm not mistaken, we had at least close to about 12 of them in attendance. So we put all these options bare on the table for them to see, and we told them the reason why we were advocating for both options. So, but the process here in Kaduna State, usually under the past administration, which I do not know whether it will continue that way, is whenever we draft any legislative proposal, whenever we come up with any bill, usually there's something known as law review. A law review meeting is usually held with the governor and other important stakeholders. We look at the provisions, we fine tune.
We seem to have lost you, Barrister Bai. Perhaps we can have your comments. We've lost you. Okay. We've lost you. We can't hear you at all. Perhaps we can have your comments in the chat box. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Hello? We can
Yes,
hear you.
I can hear you.
Can hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
Barrister clearly.
Yes.
Can
So
hear
what?
you very clearly.
Okay. As I was saying, usually we do a law review meeting with the governor and other important stakeholders. Like in this case, that meeting will have in attendance the Commissioner for Human Services and other relevant agencies or parastatals under that ministry in a meeting with members of the legal drafting department of the ministry. Everything about the bill will be analyzed. We will look at it. Like in this case, now that we have two bills, okay, we'll weigh the pros and cons together. A decision will be taken as to which bill will be sent to the House of Assembly by the governor. Because in any case, it is a decision for the executive to take at the end of the day. They are the ones in charge of the budget of the state. They are the ones that will be responsible for its implementation and enforcement at the end of the day. So it's for Kaduna State government to decide. And if they so decide that they are sending the two bills to the House, for the House to take a decision on which one to pass, it's still their decision to take at the end of the day. But at the moment, we couldn't achieve our target of passing this bill by the last House of Assembly. So I know of the efforts that have been made, the engagements with the House. God's willing, we are going to carry out from where we stopped, the advocacy with the House of Assembly. I know that I personally have talked to a couple of people. I can tell you that there are at least two legislators, about 2 or 3 of them that I know personally. One of them is a returning member, and 2 incoming members, new members, who are ready to co-sponsor this bill with the Kaduna State for us. And I know that, okay, and Lochner Boncat from Niels was around in December last year, or was it in January? No, sorry, early February. Still trying to do a last minute push to see if we could get it passed. But of course, there were other legislative proposals. The House was occupied with a lot on its table because we're also doing a review of all laws of Kaduna State since the last review was done in 1991. We're doing a compilation for a proposed compilation of Kaduna State laws for 2023. So they were occupied with that particular issue and other matters that the Kaduna State government at that time considered urgent matters. Because of that, we couldn't make a headway with the last legislative assembly. But hopefully, we're already working on getting the buy-in of new members. Then the returning members who already were part of that advocacy are fully aware of what has already been done. They, in fact, have copies of these bills that we have drafted and the legislative analysis, which is more like an executive summary, or let me say a legislative summary for easy understanding of the provisions of the bill. Thank you.
Pastor Kaneng, you are on mute.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Okay, because I had echo, so I muted myself on one device and have been speaking on the other one. Okay, so there might be a little bit of an echo, if you don't mind. Okay, thank you very much, Plangnan, and thank you very much, Barrister Bobai. We lost you at different points in time, but we got the gist of your contribution, and it's a good thing you're still on the call. We'll be able to clarify some of the issues that you raised and fill in some gaps of information we lost.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this point, I would like to call in our fourth panelist, who is a civil rights activist. He is passionate about education, he's passionate about equal access to social services. And I'll briefly share a bit what we need to know about him. We're speaking of none other than Mr. Steve Aluko. He holds a master's degree in law and diplomacy a BPA in public administration, a diploma in journalism. He has human rights. He is a human rights and okay, just to get rid of the echo for a little bit. He is a human rights and democracy activist. He is a gender and development expert. He is an advocate for inclusion. He is a youth and environmental specialist. He is the director, he has been the director of Civil Liberties Organization back in Plateau State many years ago and remains within the fold. He is a human resource development consultant with Dask Consults. He has over 15 years postgraduate experience spanning academics, journalism, human rights, and pro-democracy activism. That's not all. He is a delegate and a representative of the Civil Society Conference, Civil Society Organization, North Central. He was at the 2014 National Conference, also known as the Confab. He has since been lending his voice on various platforms, talking about the VAP, which is the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law, and the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill in the state and environs. Mr. Aluko has facilitated sessions for RAPA on the implementation of the VAP law with leaders of faith and culture. I have been privileged to have met Mr. Aluko in several circles, from education to gender and equal opportunity to violence against persons. So it's a privilege to have him here once again. Mr. Steve Aluko, you have the mic.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Steve
much.
Aluko.
And good day to everybody. Well, the brief of today is need to get a bill passed at the end of the day. As part of my engagement with strategy with Plateau. First is for all of us to identify that purely in legislative arm. And then it's very important that we engage principal staff critically in terms of lobby, in terms of education, in terms of creating awareness. And why do we need people? Because purely legislative have an assignment as part of their response. Sensitizing them on why and bringing the political angle to what it stands for. And beyond that, we should be able to also get some of the members as our advocates. That is even within the parliament, within the platform, or any other affairs, among the principal staff, get somebody that will be and then also among the members. But beyond it, it's also very critical that the money of them will not be directly received for that public hearing or committee when the committee the chairman of the committee and secretary is also very, very important. Yeah, and in terms of writing reports, they can also influence them or also help them. So it's in fact so that we enhance their work because the great number of those coming on board. We are only people who are expected to be here. So to be able to share the expertise knowledge that we have in that area. And then we must also take advantage of the opportunity, knowing them in person so that even at personal level to also speak to members of the legislative assembly. And those that have competency of it also take advantage of it. So what we also realize that cannot be for it's for popular or citizen active involvement at this level. Definitely need some level of education, campaign, and public awareness on free media, electronic media, and the rest of it. And the center focus is why citizens must involve in the process of passing the bill and make it pass. Not only that, we must also involve the public to the point that they guide their program of action and listing them into different sectors. When it's coming, when it works at the community, when it's at the community, and then what they also need to do. That is, if we leave them on the loan, they might just come in on the complainant act. So we need to organize them and also have a map out a program of action of the state. Then we must be while mobilizing the public to engage the platform data to assembly or any assembly. Also have some measurable impact that we should be able to know in this what so having engaged the public is also important that we call institutions like the religious and the traditional institutions. Let them involved so that we can also be part of this that also engage the assembly members. We need to also get the numbers of the school parties in the new assembly and make sure that we also get commitment from them and carry them along so that we can also influence their members and the school parties that are champion our country. It's not too angry, also very, very critical that we recognize. Let me say on the class, we'll be able to have some people of work, operation, networking, collaboration with the Ministry of Justice and the Office of the General Secretary, against the Ministry of Women Affairs, and we also get copies. We have own interest. So that when we are good, the government, the government agencies, so our state are speaking with the same plan. So it's also very, very important that, and beyond that, at every stage, we must have population. This is that making time free for when because the most unfortunate thing is the flood that was crisis that if not by now, the flood would have gone far ahead of the time. And if we're able to make sure that they are doing everything that are not leaving them to create gathers and agenda. We don't have time because we have to take advantage of it and go from there and the mathematics get the part. Part of the important thing is that while we are talking how and the way to do that,
My friend said don't finish. Hi, sorry everyone. I can see the comment saying that the audio from Mr. Steve is not clear, and that's because he's been having issues to join in on the webinar. So we had to call him using the phone, and obviously it is not very clear. In summary, what Mr. Steve is saying is that for us to be able to achieve this, we need to collaborate with each other, CSOs, Women's Rights Organization, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Women Affairs. Everybody needs to come together for us to be able to achieve this. And also we need to leverage on each other. It shouldn't be about this organization or this organization. With unity, we can be able to push and get this bill passed because they are equally, it is equally very important. And so he's agreeing to everything that all the panelists have said so far, and he's also giving his own 2 cents, saying that it cannot be done by one person. We all need to come together and join forces to be able to push this. Go back to the bill, look at it critically, and look at the issues that are very, very realistic and put it on the bill, and then continue to push, have aggressive advocacy, it shouldn't end in meetings. There should be actions, not just talk. So whatever it is that we're saying, we should put it in actions also. So basically that's what Mr. Steve is saying. And unfortunately, he got the call ended, so we'll just move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Plangnan. In fact, you summarized what I also picked, what I was able to make out from his contribution. We had wanted to hear the importance of the bill when it's finally passed, but he did an even better job by sharing strategies, which is where we should be going to, which is amazing. I will have Barrister Bobai, we have Barrister Yobran, and Prof is in and out. So we have other strong hands from both Kaduna and Plateau still on the call who can help shed light on the importance of the bill if it is finally passed into law. So we would probably do that, Barrister Bobai, or perhaps you could even type your contributions in the chat box and we all can pick it. Barrister Yobran, can you just quickly tell us, just itemize the importance of the bill when it is passed into law? Mohammed Meifada, I can see your hand is up. I can see if you have a question, please ask quickly. In a short while, we'll be going into the breakout sessions. We'll use just 10 minutes to outline strategies, then share. And Plangnan, just reflect a bit on how we're going to do this. I was thinking perhaps it would be by state, or do we have a mixture of Plateau and Kaduna? I would have suggested perhaps Plateau separately, Kaduna separately, then we have a presentation at plenary. So my fed up.
Yeah, that's what we'll be doing.
Beautiful.
We have a chat room for Plateau State and chat room for Kaduna State, and then come back together and share.
Okay, fantastic. So I saw my father's hand was up. Okay, so let's just move quickly to the breakout session. And maybe we can get a little expo on the importance of this bill and to help give us energy into the strategies that we need to implement. And the good thing is, I believe it's going to be a short session because the speakers so far have also brought out a number of strategies. So Barrister Yub, maybe you go first. If you can give us 3 things at least that will make this bill so important if it's finally passed into law. The importance of, yes. Just
okay, thank you. All right, one will be that there will be a balance in how we handle cases of violence, especially when they involve the family setting. Like when we have the commission, we would be able to bring in issues there that have to do with social practices, where maybe there are some practices that are part of what causes the violence against women. It could be a sitting that you invite some of the community leaders, discuss issues like this and find ways of trashing out such practices or stopping them. It may not necessarily be something that can take place in court, but it can take place in the commission. And then also, as I had earlier said, it will also help the family front because there are some offenses that, yes, they are offenses, but probably because somebody is a first-time offender and isn't even aware that it's an offense, you don't throw the baby with the bathwater. The commission would help to look into the issues and see how there can be a redress, more so that there's also room for compensation, and also there would be find a leveling ground on how to carry on further, unless probably the perpetrator is a recalcitrant offender that would have to be checked under the gender court with the VAP law. And that's about it. Those are the 2 main issues. I just think the commission will serve as a balance, because more so that the fact that we have passed the gender law in Plateau State doesn't mean that every man has accepted it hook, line, and sinker. It's still passing So with the commission, you know, this mindset that people have. Like sometimes when spouses come, we have a mediation center in the Ministry of Justice. When spouses come with issues to be settled, the first thing the man says is, "Oh, so you brought me to court." That alone has already started another family feud from what the actual issue is. So the commission gives it a lighter atmosphere to settle issues there. Unless it gets so bad and out of hand, then we begin to resort to court. These are about some of the factors. It gives a balance, so it makes it more welcoming, more palatable to the society.
Okay. So in essence, it offers a more friendly mediation platform.
Yes, for issues that need mediation, but for those that are fully criminal, of course, we take those ones straight to court.
Okay. Very good. It's getting clearer and clearer. Okay. So I had a question off the top of my head, but I'll make it rhetorical at this point. I hope this will not duplicate the family courts that we may have. I hope it wouldn't. It's rhetorical for now, Barrister Rohan.
Okay. The family court deals strictly with children.
Right, because I know it's linked to the child's right.
Yes,
Okay.
it handles issues that concern children only. So it wouldn't in any way overlap into functions of the family court. And then just to add, there was a question on what are some of the sections in the GEO law that we needed to replicate or we try to remove because we have a VAP law. Now the GEO law just in one section captures all the offenses: sex without permission, exploitation of women and stuff. It's just one section that captures these offenses, but doesn't really describe the offenses like the VAP law does. And then in the GEO law, you find out that it has an omnibus sentencing section. That is, there's one section that is prescribed as punishment for almost all the offenses. The highest imprisonment sentence is about 6 months, unless you're a second offender, then more than that. And the highest fine is 100,000. And you know that some of these offenses far outweigh the penalty given. But when you go to the VAP law, you find out that the sections, the offenses are singly mentioned, cited, and described. Like there's rape separately, there's genital mutilation separate, and they have different punishment sections which are higher than what the GEO law provides, so that somebody doesn't take advantage of the GEO law and decides to just mete out a simple punishment for a grievous offense. It's better for us to remove all those violent sections from the GEO law and then focus on what the was.
This farm not the work.
Thank you very much, Barrister Rohan. So Barrister Bobai, can we have yours for Kaduna State, stakeholders in Kaduna State, the vulnerable in Kaduna? If there's anything other than what Barrister Yop has contributed, Barrister Bobai, what will be the importance of the GEO bill if passed into law in Kaduna? Okay. So I think he's off the mic for a bit. I think he was also sharing with colleagues, so they're trying to sort that out. So Plangnan, at this point, we'll quickly move into the breakout sessions. I'm sure we could even knock it off in 5 minutes, but we're giving a little more time, about 7 minutes. Can we go into the breakout sessions, basically to itemize realistic and practical strategies? I'm so happy to see veterans of championing the cause for the GEO law on this call. I see Jume Madaki, I see Abosede, I see Sunday Dombin, Uncle Sonny. Wow, he's a director at the Ministry of Women Affairs. He's been part of the journey for over a decade in Plateau. So we have experienced mistakes, we have seen the weaknesses. So I'm sure this session will be very short, straight to the point, so that we can itemize realistic strategies.
She's talking to you now. No, she's talking to you.
So at this point, Plangnan, could you come in?
Yeah, the room has been open. So if you're in Plateau State, you can go to the Plateau room. If you're in Kaduna State, you can join the Kaduna room. And then we have people that...
Hello, David, please.
In between.
And I come in before the breakout session, please, for a comment.
Okay, sorry, who is speaking?
It's Mohammed, my father.
Oh, okay, yes, I gave you the mic. I gave you the mic earlier on, but you didn't respond. I know how these things work, network issues. Please, you have the floor very quickly, Mohammed, my father.
Good morning. Well done, Madam Moderator, our panelists, all the participants. I just want to call our attention of all our participants, especially our stakeholders in Kaduna and Plateau, before we go through the breakout section. This, as you are aware, will be the last webinar on this project. And as we go close, running down to the end of this project, the project have succeeded in establishing synergy and collaboration among all these key stakeholders. And I think it is important for us to all note that without this synergy and collaboration, as mentioned by all other early speakers, we cannot get this bill passed. RAPA is not there, you are there. We create a platform, we create all the avenues for you to continue what we are doing. These bills will not or cannot be fully implemented without the collaboration and synergy of all key state and non-state actors. So I encourage all participants, especially in Kaduna. I know that Plateau has one of the advantage Plateau have over Kaduna is that strong presence of that platform of CSO's forum. So I think I will encourage Kaduna to also have similar platform and to also work closely with all other non-state actors. We have engaged with several non-state actors, the faith and cultural leaders. It is for you, the platform, to continue even beyond the exploration of this project, to continue to do this advocacy. You have already known, we have introduced you all to these stakeholders. You have been with us from the beginning of this project. So it is important that you sustain that tempo and continue to use those platforms created by this project to have these bills passed, especially with the coming of the new administration in both states. I'd urge you all to please continue to use this platform. We may come for a second round of the project if we get extension, but otherwise we have done that. If we continue to be waiting for funders to come and push, funders may not be there always, but you are the foot soldiers, you are always there, and you are aware of all those stakeholders, both the influential of non-state actors and the state actors. So I urge you please to go back and continue to strategize and also use those platforms created on this project to advocate for the immediate passage and effective implementation of the model laws. Thank you once again.
Thank you very, very much, Mohammed Mayfada. This is actually key. And there are individuals I know on this call that have not waited for anyone. They have pushed, they have plunged head on, they have given their best. So with that, I believe that we'll definitely get better. So, but just to re-echo what my father said, you are the stakeholders, you are the advocates, you are the boots on the ground, you are in the states, you know the state and non-state actors, especially the leaders of faith and culture. Continue to engage with them, strengthen the platform that RAPA has created. A project will be a failed project if it is not sustained. And we believe this will be sustained until we have success stories in both Kaduna and Plateau. Okay, with that being said, Plangnam, I believe we can now move into the rooms. Our time is so
5 minutes, please.
Exactly. You took
and then there are people that are in Abuja, they join from other places. You can choose the room that you align with. If you're from Plateau State and you're in Abuja, you can join Plateau. If you're, because we also have people in the UK joining. So whichever state you align with, you can join in the room. And we have 5 minutes so we can round up. Thank you very much. Realistic strategies and resolutions. That's it. And then when you're in your room, you pick someone at the end of the day to just give us a short presentation of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Plank.
If you cannot join your group, indicate on the chat box and we'll add you to the room.
That's right. So I see
a
number of Plateau individuals: Jumema Daki, Neneto, Vivian Abara, Bridget Dakies, Jessica Vonkat. Wow, these are really, really strong individuals. They have been in this fight for long and they're not ready to give up. So yes, thank you. Let's come back in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Remember to pick one person to make the presentation on your behalf. Awesome.
Hi, Yakubu. I don't know your so that it can be added. Add Oga Mohammed to
So I believe we're back in plenary.
Please, can I say hello?
Yes, please.
Yes, I want to say something small. I was privileged to have a look at the budget of Ministry of Women Affairs for the 20.
Okay, we seem to have lost you, Auntie Jessica. Auntie Jessica. Uh-oh. Okay, so we're back. And I believe at this point, we are ready to make presentations. We're gonna have 2 presentations. We'll give both states 2 minutes each. So if Kaduna is ready, can we have the presentation of realistic, achievable, actionable strategies to getting either, or who knows, maybe both of the bills signed. But what we know is at the end of the day, a GEO bill is signed, whether it's going to be domiciled with the Ministry of Human Services or whether a commission will be set up in Kaduna State representing the 2 bills before the House. What we want to see is that the GEO bill has been passed into law, and at least it can be accessed by Kaduna State citizens. So Kaduna State, if you're ready, we don't know who is making the presentation on your behalf. Kaduna State, please, who is representing Kaduna?
My name is Bukola Ajao.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it's Barrister Bukola because
yes, it's Barrister Bukola.
I suspected so.
It's Barrister. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, your poser is that what are the realistic strategies that we intend to utilize to ensure that this bill is passed. First and foremost, you talked about the fact that Plateau State has an advantage, yes, over Kaduna State because of the existence of they have a coalition. So I'm glad to inform you that Kaduna State will also have a coalition. That's the Kaduna State Civil Society Coalition against sexual and gender-based violence. And we'll leverage on the existence of that civil society coalition and start advocacy visits in earnest to the State House of Assembly. And, you know, incidentally, the clerk of the House happens to be one of the members of the Rapper Committee during this engagement. So we are just going to hold her to ensure that she gives us, you know, a kind of leadway to who to meet. She knows those that are eager to sponsor a bill. So we'll leverage on that too. Then part of some of our strategies are having massive sensitization on jingles and television. We also talked about the fact that lobbying is also very, very essential. You know, if you know somebody one-on-one, you are able to like, and what is important is that for each and every one of us, anyone that will be engaged in the advocacy, you have to know your onions. You have to look at the bill in and out, because at times they have not even looked at it. So you must have the beginning and the end of the bill, because they want you, okay, what are you saying? Let's go straight to the point. So we too must be harmed with the bill itself, that is knowing what the bill entails. We'll also talk about the fact that our engagement will be basically looking at it from the equitable angle. Because if you lay your emphasis during advocacy on women, they will just be carried away and say, oh, women things, equity here. And we'll also talk about the fact that we have to also still look at the bill again. Is there any area in the bill or any sections that is in contrast with the VAB law? If there's any, we'll have to remove it, because at the end of the day, you will have a kind of duplication. Then also engaging with traditional rulers and religious leaders is very, very important. So that anytime we want to do anything like lobbying or going for advocacy, we would have to go with them so that they would know that this one is different. It's not business as usual. We are here armed with the traditional rulers and the religious leaders. At least we have representatives, so that when we are presenting the issue to the House, we would not be talking as only CSO or coalitions, but we're talking with the state and the non-state actors. That's just our strategies that we have come up with. Thank you very much.
Well, beautiful. Thank you very much, Barrister Bukola Ajao. That's putting it very aptly. And these seem quite realistic as well. I love the part about deepening the understanding of all the sections of the GEO law. I also love that you mentioned that a review will be made to double check and eliminate areas of duplicity, because these are areas that can easily make the bill be thrown out again of the House. Thank you very much. You've made about 7 very key points. Thank you. So we'll now move to Plateau. Can we please have, this is Nenedu Ahad Expo. So I know she's presenting on behalf of the Plateau stakeholders. Nenedu, the chairman of NAWAJ, chairperson NAWAJ Plateau State. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, KRP, and good afternoon all. For Plateau State, what we intend to do, Barrister Bukola has said that Plateau has an advantage, yes, but of course, it's not all rosy. We still have a lot of work to do. One government has concluded its assignment, a new government is in place. And with that comes also with the challenge of having people who probably were not in the know of all that has been going on. So what Plateau intends to do is to ensure that we kind of return back to the table and begin a remapping of our activities, and there's also the need for us to sanitize.
Could you speak a little louder, ma'am?
Okay. We're just thinking of seeing how we could synergize with the Ministry for Women Affairs and also renew CSO relationship to ensure that everyone is carried along in looking at what we hope to achieve. And what we hope to achieve is to ensure that the Gender Commission is in place and that this GEO law is also actionable, that we can also have people who can quote the GEO law if those who have run foul of it, the survivors can actually say that this law is working for them. But in doing that, we have to also carry out activities, and these activities will have to involve advocacy. To the new government, a new government is in place. The last government was at the point of giving us a gender commission. In fact, to the point that there was a chairman of the commission, but all boards, chairmen of boards have been dissolved. So we're going to have a new chairman of the Gender Commission. Who will that be? We do not know. And there's also the need for us to advocate to the State House of Assembly to, get them familiarized with what is happening. It's one thing to say there is a law on ground and it has been passed and all of that, but it's another thing for the members of the House of Assembly to actually understand what the law is about. Now, we're also going to ensure advocacy to have non-state actors on board the commission, to make it more viable. The whole of this advocacy we're doing, this GEO law, the VAP Act, and all of that, if it is not captured in the budget, our exercise will be in futility. And we were privileged, a few of us were privileged to have a glimpse of the budget of Plateau State for 2023. And there was really nothing about the GEO law or even the VAP Act that was captured. Nothing in the GEO law, nothing in the budget. So it would be nice if this coalition, sits together and even is able to attend the presentation, the budget presentation, so that in terms of making improvements or making suggestions on what should be in the budget, especially that of the Ministry for Women Affairs, so that activities of the commission can be captured in the budget. Because if it's not captured in the budget, there will be no finances, to carry out activities. So these are some of the areas that things or strategies that we'll be looking at in Plateau State. Synergy with Women Affairs, mapping up of activities, mapping new activities. And we also look at stakeholders that can support this move, new stakeholders that can support the move, because most of the stakeholders we've worked with in the government are no longer there. The permanent secretary of Ministry of Women Affairs has been moved. The commissioner is no longer there. So we're going to have a new commissioner. So these are some of the issues that we'll be looking at in Plateau State. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nenedu Nawal Chair, for presenting what Plateau intends to do. It was short, but we believe it's realistic and it can be done. I wonder if we, both Kaduna and Plateau now, if we fix timelines, to both timelines like realistically short-term, what can be achieved in the next 3 months? Because I'm sure appointments will be done. The strike in Plateau has been called off. Civil servants are back to work. So I'm sure a few activities of government and governance will move forward. So we have timelines.
Yes.
3 months.
For Kaduna.
In 12 months. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, for Kaduna, just like you are aware, it's a known fact that a new government is in place. And so we really have to move
fast.
At the end of the year, we'll be able to see how much we can achieve with the advocacy to the new government. Because the new governor, of course, the new governor is not the former governor, but we have to be the one that was there before, and she's returning, and she had worked with us. At least we had advocacy to her. So we are going to be going back. In fact, the bill presented to her during the 16 days of activism at the Civil Society Coalition against LGBT. But the one we gave her then, we have now. So we'll be able to go with that too that Bobai talked about. So that's I think it was just last week that the governor returned. So I will start. To see how. Yes.
Okay. If I got you right, you believe there will be some kind of result by December 2023. If I heard you right, by December 2023, at least first level advocacy would have been carried out, and maybe there will be some kind of result by December 2023? Okay, your frame is frozen. But so we quickly move to Plateau. Nene, did you discuss timelines? What are the realistic timelines we're looking at? What can we achieve on the Plateau in 3 months, and in 6 months, and in 12 months from what I've seen? I'm sure there are movements that have been done.
Let me allow Bridget to speak here. Bridget, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Nana. Nene, for us in Plateau, we all know that a new government has emerged, and we're still waiting for certain offices or appointments to be done. And for us, we know that in the House of Assembly, the lawmakers have already been elected. They have already started to be in the office. So we can start our advocacies because we have mapped out series of advocacies to undertake. So we can start our advocacies from those offices that have already resumed their offices, like the House of Assembly, and then looking at the Attorney General of the state, and then we move that way to the next appointments that will be done. We know that a series of other offices have reopened in the government house, so we can also pay advocacies to those places, because advocacies need to be made because there's need for awareness on this issue, particularly for the Gender Commission, the VAP, the GEO law, and all of that.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Bridget. So I didn't hear mention of some stakeholders like the wives of the governors, the first ladies, and perhaps even the wives of some of the
I remember we had a training last week, myself, Nana, with FIDA, and I think Auntie Jume was part of this training where we started up a conversation in that regard. So we are actually looking at our leaders that are women. We're looking at the First Lady of the state. We're also looking at the Deputy Governor of the state. And we're hoping that we're going to have Commissioner for Women Affairs that is vibrant, that will be able to work with We need vibrant and strategic people who are ready to go through this path with all of us. So we hope that moving forward, before the year runs out, we're going to have a series of appointments with strategic people who are willing to go on this advocacy until we get to realization.
Okay, fantastic. Auntie Jemima Adaki, your hand was up. Auntie Jemima Adaki, you have the mic now. We'll be closing in a short bit. Auntie Jemima Adaki, you have the mic. Auntie Jemima? Yes, Auntie Jemima. Yes, go ahead, please, ma'am. We can't seem to hear you at all, but we can hear background noises. Hey, Auntie Jemima, I'm sure that would have been a very valuable input. Okay, maybe you can drop it in the chat box. So I would like to say that please, both Kaduna and Plateau, please, 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 we know this is a lot of work, but please, we're begging. At the end of this month, let's say by the 31st of July, please, let's have your action plans. We already have the strategies. It's just to unbundle them, break them down a little bit more. The stakeholders you intend to engage, how do you intend to do it? The synergy, deepening synergy with the Ministry of Women Affairs. Who will do what? When will it happen? It's good for RAPA to know this so that there could be support that could be given. There could be technical support or some kind of guidance or something that could come. RAPA could even send observers when some of these activities will take place. So please, it's important. We don't want to put you under pressure and say, oh, the end of this week. Today is only 18th. So you still have almost 2 weeks, but hopefully by next week, please, if you can, let's have your action plans based on these itemized realistic strategies. And they are realistic. If RAPA will know where RAPA can come in. There's no promise of money, but we're doing this together. We've come a long way. We know what the story is, and we know that we're all stakeholders in this, and we're supporting. So please, to complete this process from this end for RAPA, it's important to just see an action plan. If you need an action plan template, there are more than 20 people on this call I know are development experts and very experienced and have very simple templates. RAPA could also send you a simple template to just put together, the objective, what you want to achieve, who will do what are the tasks, who is going to support, what dates are you looking at, so that if you need further support, even in terms of maybe writing, RAPA could deploy some resources, or you know how to better synergize. Please, do we have the commitment of the House on this? Please, so that by the 31st, we have your action plans. Well, thank you very much. And for those who presented on behalf of the groups, Auntie Jim, we didn't see your comments. Okay, you have technical issues. For those who presented, please, can you just share? Can you send to me on WhatsApp or send to Plangnan on WhatsApp so that we can put together a little report for this? We don't want to belabor everybody here. Go back and say, everyone, Plangnan, please, let's mute. Individuals seem to be speaking randomly. Thank you very much. Very good. So at this point, we would have the closing remarks. We have had our wrap up and next steps. We're waiting for the action plan and we take it from there. We are hoping by December this year, we'll get some results, some kind of report from both states on progress made so far. Mayfada had encouraged us. We shouldn't wait for funders to come before we do what we know we need to do to help ourselves and our communities and develop better. So at this point, I would request the Assistant Project Officer to give us the closing remarks. Plangnan, will that be you?
Yes, it's me, Plangnan. Good afternoon once again to everyone who is still on this call. On behalf of RAPA, I want to say thank you for starting with us and staying till the end of this program. We really appreciate you. We appreciate all that you have said. Now, just like I said earlier on, it's not all about we will do this, we will do that. We need to see actions And so, as Kaneng has said, we'll be expecting your action plan on the 31st of July. Can send it to us so that we can also work with you and we'll be able to achieve this together. Rapa cannot do it alone. Kaduna State cannot do it alone. Plateau State cannot do it alone. We have to come together, form a synergy, and we can't stop now. We have made a whole lot of progress. If we stop now, it'll be so painful. So let's continue to push. Don't give up. Don't get tired, because I know sometimes the fuel, the energy can be low. But please, let's refuel, get back to it, and don't give up. At the end of the day, we will all smile, and our children will be grateful that we didn't stop. We pushed for this bill that will help us and help the generation to come, and society will be a better place for all of us. Thank you from all of us from RAPA, and Habiba sends her greetings to all of us. Thank you so much, and over from me.
Thank you very much, Plangnan. And just as a final thought, please, next week, if we can have your action plan by next week, that will be even better. So we know we can finalize the report before the end of this month. And next week, in fact, 7 days from today will be the 25th. So, but please let it come before the 31st. You've already outlined very realistic and few. There are not even too many strategies to implement. Thank you very much from my end. God bless you. Thank you for your time, and safe trip to your next destination, even if it's another Zoom call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ram.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.